Amazing, isn't it? That Child's Play 2 came out as quickly as it did. Thing is, back when Child's Play first came out, there was a reaction to it, but it didn't change the world. However, the whole possessed doll thing clearly got on some people's radar and really freaked them out. So a sequel was pushed into production, then MGM folded, the rights were optioned, and eventually Universal got hold of it and put Child's Play 2 and 3 into fast track. Welcome to ChuckyWatch. This is episode 2. If you missed the first episode, it's over on the Big Damn channel where I talk all about Child's Play. Today, here on my channel, I'm talking about Child's Play 2. It's a bit of a freeform, just ramble talking about these films that I love in the run-up to Cult of Chucky's UK release, which, as of this video, is out in the UK on Blu-ray, DVD, and probably Netflix. So if you've seen the first 6 Chucky movies, give it a go, and my review for that will be at the end of these videos over the next 2 years. Spoiler warning, by the way, if you've never seen the Child's Play movies, don't stick around for these videos unless you don't mind spoilers, because this isn't a review per se, although I'm going to obviously be talking about like favourite moments, things like that, but it's just me waxing lyrical about my favourite possessed doll. So let's give it a go, shall we? Oh, he's having a brew. He's not going to edit it out. So Child's Play 2. My first experience with Child's Play 2 was, like I said in yesterday's video, back when a friend in high school lent me the movies. All 5 of the films at that point. I watched Child's Play and I was suitably freaked out but really enjoyed it. And I remember putting Child's Play 2 on immediately. Like, I was watching the first one at like 9 o'clock at night, finished at 10:30. I went downstairs, I made a brew. I'd done my coursework that I needed to get done. I went back upstairs, and I was sort of like, at that point in my life, I would switch BBC 3 on and just sort of watch Family Guy till I fell asleep. Like, that was my weeknight sort of routine at the end of the day, as sad as that. But I was like, do you know what, I'm going to put Child's Play 2 on. I had a quick look at the length, and I was like, oh, it's an hour and a half as well. I'll put it on. You know, I'll be done by 12. And I watched 2. And then 3, and then called it a night. But I was so bowled over by how impressed I was by Child's Play that I had to carry on. I just had to keep going that night. And so I did! Child's Play 2, obviously you've watched it, that's why you're watching this, but a bit of context in case you're someone who doesn't mind spoilers and is still watching. Child's Play 2 is this continued story of Andy Barclay, who's now up for foster care because his mum, Karen from the last movie, has been put into psychiatric evaluation to decide whether or not she's insane, which implies that Detective Norris and his partner denied that the killer doll story was real. Jack Skellington, you bitch! I mean, I'm wearing you on my ear, but you did a bad thing, Chris Sarandon. So yeah, and I wonder if Chris Sarandon and Catherine Hicks were considered for this one, or whether or not they knew they wanted to just carry on with Andy as the main character. But either way, Don Mancini put a script forward. He was one of 2 or 3 writers who were asked to do it, and obviously we're glad it's him because he's kept up he's written every Chucky movie and now directed 3 of them. So there's a consistent, consistency, consistent tone throughout these movies. He didn't like voodoo, apparently, when it was originally added into the first movie's script. He wasn't too big on the voodoo, he just liked the supernatural aspect. So the voodoo gave it a whole new box of rules. Apparently he wasn't keen. You can't tell from Child's Play 2, because Don Mancini buys into the voodoo stuff so much. There's not as much voodoo imagery in this movie as there is, it's all about the soul transference and the chanting, and essentially the plot of the movie relies on Chucky doing the soul swap with Andy and going into his body. That's a good point, actually. Maybe this will be answered in the new film, but they always refer to it in special features and everything as transferring his soul. Is it an exchange, or just a straightforward transfer? Like, would the soul of the other person... I don't know. I don't know. Because that'd make the end of Seed of Chucky really disturbing with the Tiffany doll. But, anywho, his script is damn fine, but this movie, it focuses... Okay, this is the first movie in the Child's Play series that starts the sequel trend that other horror films and other horror franchises have done at this point. Friday the 13th was still about the new characters introduced, but it focused on their experiences with Jason Voorhees, and eventually the Jason Voorhees lore grows to the point where you're kind of watching it for him, but, you know, he's not the main character. Freddy Krueger is sort of like that, but you're almost rooting for Freddy as you watch the Nightmare on Elm Street movies toward the end, because they introduce us to some innocent, likeable, heroic teenagers, but a lot of dickheads. So you just assume, like, yeah, they're going to die horribly. Can't wait to see how Freddy comes up with a creative murder and dream sequence. But this movie is like, yeah, the main character's Andy. Kinda. It's also Chucky. You're with him as much as you're with Andy. And I think that was a smart decision, probably rooted in the fact that you know the doll's alive. This is Child's Play 2. You know Chucky is a living being. So why would they try once again to do a whole, like, did that doll just move? No, don't be silly, it's fine. You blamed it on the doll. This is ridiculous. Like, of course those elements pop up in the story, but they don't make the story about a doll secretly killing people. They make a story about a doll secretly killing people, and you see him planning it out. This is a mold that they only break when they get to the 6th movie, the Curse flick. But from this point on, Chucky is a joint main character with whoever the human protagonist is. So it's the movie's become like a cat and mouse game at this point, because you're watching the good guy and the good guy, and the good guy and the bad guy at the same time. And it's just a case of, like, is Chucky going to get his way? Is he going to take over Andy's body? Is he going to get out of the doll? Because, of course, in this one, Chucky's still trying to get out of the good guy doll. He transferred his soul in the last movie, and now he's like, I want out. So it's really, really cool and interesting at the end of this flick, when he does the chant and he does the ritual, Ade, Due, Dimbala. Probably shouldn't say that so close to these guys, but he does the chant, and it's too late. He doesn't transfer. He's been in the doll body too long. And he's turning human? If I don't get out of this body, I'm screwed. So let's go at the beginning. Let's go for the weird bits, the bits I like. I like the opening. I like the fact that the Play Pals company... It's Play Pals, isn't it? Is it? Oh. Play Partners Toys, according to this little good guy box. I know it changed over the course of the first couple of movies, the company name, but whatever. They're still good guys. The people who make good guys... get the remains from the evidence from the events of Child's Play, the remains of the scarred up doll, clean them up as best they can, use the parts that are still whole, so like the skull and stuff like that, the skull of the doll, not a skull, and they build a new doll with it, basically just to pack test it and prove there is nothing wrong with this good guy doll. So it was definitely all the delusions of this kid and his single mom. Like, it was them who made this story up about the doll saying nasty things. Because, of course, the alternative is an employee's put horrible things in its voice box and a little kid has been traumatised by it and the company's in trouble. So they put him back together, and everything's fine and dandy. And here's something I always thought was really weird. So the final thing they do is they have this machine, because they don't manually put the dolls together, it's a production line, which they set up nicely at the beginning. Like, we don't normally put these together by hand, because then at the end, the final set piece is set in the factory, and you get to see the machinery and how everything is put together. But they have this little machine to put the eyes in, when you could just plonk them in yourself, but I guess it's for accuracy, maybe, like to make sure they're both in the same spot. I don't bloody know. It's an excuse for a kill. They do it, and the machine stalls, like it stops working. Then it charges up again, sort of seemingly from spiritual voodoo nonsense. It goes like, psh, and the eyes go into Chucky, and the machine electrocutes. As soon as they go back in, the machine electrocutes the two workers. So there's your first kill. But what's weird about that is it's like, hang on. Did the machine just innocently stall and it was there to build suspense for us as the audience? Or are there other forces at work here going, no, don't rebuild him? I always thought that was interesting. I thought they'd explore that, but they never do. But who knows, like, if there's a voodoo force that keeps Chucky's soul alive, even when he's been blown up, or he's just in blood dripping in a plastic, like, somehow, maybe there is a force that's trying to, you know, keep him away from coming back to life. I always like that. Let's talk about the kills really quickly. That kill's really nice when the guys get electrocuted. Really nice. I like a psychopath. That kill's really fun for a fun, daft, weird horror movie. The guys get electrocuted by the machine. There's... oh god, who else is in this one? There's the exec who takes the doll, and then Chucky sort of sticks him up for a moment with a toy gun, and then suffocates him with a bag over his head. Fulfilling the whole Lakeshore Strangler thing, because he is the Lakeshore Strangler. though he doesn't strangle too many people. Like, his strangle ratio throughout all the movies is quite low. But yeah, so he kills that guy with the plastic bag. He kills the other good guy doll. It isn't really a kill, but it's still quite funny when he just punches it out. Then buries it in the backyard. He kills the foster dad, Phil. How's it hanging, Phil? Hanging him down the stairs and then letting him drop. He snaps his neck. I think that's what happens anyway. Yeah, he does it. The foster mum gets a quiet off-screen death. That's Jenny Agutter, isn't it? Is that how you pronounce her name? Jenny Agutter? Yeah, from American Werewolf in London, which I love her in. Her accent in this is all over the shop. She's British, and she sounds like a British person doing an American accent in this. They don't really use her enough, considering how great she is. Like, she's not in it much. Well, who is in it much? Let's double check the actress's name. Christine Elise, as Kyle, who's another foster child with the couple, who's, you know, sort of Andy's sister in foster care. She's great, like little rebel, you know, smoking, beret, because it's the 80s, you know, she's just a fun character, and it's nice that, though everyone's disbelieving of Andy, she gets to know him. There's some really nice scenes with her and Alex Vincent, who is, again, brilliant in this movie. Last movie, he was like the cherry on top with Catherine Hicks in the lead. In this, he's carrying the narrative from the last movie. You know, well, Chucky's carrying his narrative. And, he's superb. But him and Kyle, their bonding scenes are really nice, because she's like, oh, it's an annoying little kid brother. And then over the course of a few scenes, they establish that, no, these two quite like each other. She can see something of herself in him, and he feels safe around her, because the parents are a bit odd. Like, the mum's really doting, but the dad's like a bit distant, like, this kid's screwed up, I tell you. He's not Rodney Dangerfield. This kid's screwed up, what can I say? No respect. So, Kyle, like, obviously, is a warm presence for Andy, because she's cool. She's the cooler older sister who smokes. Doesn't give a shit. So when Andy gets taken back into care, and Kyle witnesses the murder of the foster mum, like finds her body, she's like, Andy wasn't lying, and she immediately teams up. Well, tries to team up with him to help him. Chucky takes her hostage. Like, makes her drive him to the foster home, and then like to the factory to chase after Andy later. Oh god, one death I forgot about. Miss Kettlewell, the teacher at the school. That is great. That's a proper eerie scene. Where he's walking forward with the yardstick, as they call it over there, just smacking it against his hand, and he beats a teacher to death, and it's not brought up yet. But yeah, what else? God, what are the kills in this movie? They don't kill the policeman on the highway, do they? No, the policeman pulls Kyle over. He's like, oh, good guy dolls, I remember those. Those guys say all kinds of things. Freaking hell. What's your name, little guy? He just, instead of doing the doll voice, he just turns his head and he goes, Chucky. He's just like, get out of my face. It's so good. It starts bleeding because they've been beaten up in the previous scene. It's like, oh, you know, you seen those dolls that pee? This one bleeds. Which is a nice reference back to the original script Don Mancini wrote for the first one, back when it was Blood Buddy. About, you know, them being a doll with blood and Andy making a blood pact. So that's cool. I can't remember the actress's name, but she's brilliant. But the lady who runs the foster home, she gets killed by Chucky. It's horrible. Stabbed. And she falls, stabbed fatally, I'm guessing. And then she falls into the copier. And of course, copies flying out, and that's always quite funny. In horror films, it's so over the top. And then Andy's traumatized. Like, Carl's locked in the closet. Like, he's locked Carl in the closet, and the foster care lady's on the floor, bleeding out, already dead. And Andy's like shaken. When Chucky just goes, "What's the matter with you? You act like you never seen a dead body before." But it's so funny because normally the killer would be like, "Hi, I'm lording it over you. Now come with me, little boy." Instead, he's like, "Can we get a move on? I've got shit to do." It's not like you haven't seen a corpse before. It's like, whoa. And then, of course, the finale in the Good Guy factory, phenomenal. Probably the most interesting set piece in the series of all the Child's Play movies, in terms of like taking a location and deciding, right, this is what we're going to do. This location, the Good Guy factory, is phenomenal, and you get some really cool body horror with Chucky, because of course he's stuck in the body, so he's turning more human. So they cut his hand off in the grate. Like, they close the thing on him, he pulls his arm out, and it's a bloody stump, so he takes his knife, which he can't hold in that hand anymore, and forces it into the stump, and then tapes it up. Oh, it's so creepy. And then his deaths are amazing. He goes up in the machine, gets his legs ripped off. After that, a worker gets put in the eye. That's why they did the eye thing at the beginning. That's why, not just for the death at the beginning, but for the death at the end. It's a bookmark, because of course the eye machine in the factory line sticks into the guy's skull and kills him, leaving him with 2 doll eyes, which is freaky. And then, yeah, so his legs get cut off, and he's crawling on a trolley after Andy. And then Kyle, they pour hot plastic on him, and he's still alive, so then she sticks the pipe with the hot plastic in his mouth, and his head expands and blows up. Because that's another thing. It's the same with Batman the Animated Series. They said they loved episodes with Scarface, the ventriloquist doll, because even though it was an animated show on Saturday morning, like kids' TV, you could kill Scarface and make it really gruesome because it was a wooden doll. Same with Chucky. Like, even though we kind of like him at this point, like, he's not a good person, but he's enjoyable to watch. It's really fun to see the creative ways that they kill the character off, because again, he's a plastic doll. So you can get really gory without being really gory. This film is a 15 certificate in the UK. In the next one, they up the gore factor and it becomes 18. So, you know, caution thrown to the wind, and then, no, screw it! But yeah, favourite moment for me, for Child's Play 2, it's probably all the stuff with Chucky being really slow and sinister. Like, he's really trying to get to Andy, but he's still taking his time. Not necessarily because he's taunting the kid, but because he doesn't want to make a fuss and blow it. So it's really creepy, just like that scene where Andy wakes up and he's been tied to the bed and he's got the sock in his mouth. And Chucky's there over him, and he's just like, what was it? Hey buddy, long time no see, whatever it is. What does he says? We're going to play a game called Hide the Soul. And guess what? You're it. And then starts chanting, and you're like, oh my god! It's only because Kyle, like, comes in that the day's saved, but it's just... It's creepy. My favourite thing about this movie is he knows he's going to be out of the body soon, or at least he hopes he will be, so he's enjoying being a creepy doll. Especially when he masquerades as the other doll. And he just sort of asks his name, just because he's getting used to being around good guy dolls again. He goes, hi, I'm Tommy, wanna play? Like, he's like, I'm not going to be in this body long, but I'm going to enjoy it while I'm here. So this is the movie, I think, where Chucky's having... In terms of his original story arc of getting out of his body, he's having the most fun in this one. He's not frustrated, but he gets impatient as it goes on. He's just being a killer doll and loving it, but he's ready to move on. This is the movie, I think, and Brad Dourif said this in an interview recently, this is the movie where you really see what Chucky's driving force is. Brad Dourif, who played Charles Lee Ray voices Chucky, he said Chucky's driving force, for anyone who was ever going to play the role, like, you know, God forbid it's never anyone else playing the doll, but, you know, whoever's going to play the role, Chucky's driving motivation is he's terrified of finality. He's frightened of the end, be that death, that's why he learns the voodoo, so he can transfer his soul into other things, or be that being stuck somewhere where he doesn't want to be. That's why in this one, when he realises it's too late to get out of the body, his first instinct isn't, right, I'm going to go find another way out. It's, I'm going to kill you both and make it really bloody messy and horrible. Because he just flips out. He's terrified. And you can see that in this. I love these movies, in case you can't tell. So yeah, that's my little chinwag about Child's Play 2. If you've never seen Child's Play 2, why did you watch this? My Child's Play miniseries, ChuckyWatch, continues tomorrow with the 3rd video over on the Big Damn channel. There'll be a link to it here if you're watching this after this video has been posted. So yes, and stick around because I'll be back here on this channel in 2 days to talk about the red-headed stepchild of the family. See you then.